Today I'm doing one of my most favorite things, which is gushing over the plants that I'm loving right now. And usually I try to rank my plants from my least favorite to my most favorite, but that's not happening today because I am in love with so many plants. I even struggle to keep this list like shortish. It's not going to be short. It's definitely more than 10 plants. So today's thing is just going to be show and tell basically of all the plants that I'm enjoying, and it's most of them. I struggled to make the plants that I'm beefing with video because most of the beefs have been squashed. So yeah, today's going to be show and tell of all these plants that I'm loving, and I'm not going to split hairs about which plant I'm loving the most because it's just a great time. Hello, my name is Baliza. Welcome to Plants and Things. We're talking about plants and things. First up on my list, that is in no particular order, is my neon pothos. And this plant and I have been through it. When I first got it, I think it was about the size. The main thing, as a side note, that I absolutely love about this plant is how it's filling up. I kind of am torn. It lives in the bookshelf right now. I want to hang it, but I have mentioned the fact that I have very little hanging space in this top floor apartment because of course I don't have cement ceiling. Is that what it's called? I don't have that, so I can't hang things from the roof. So it's been a bit tense, but I do absolutely want to hang this plant. Every day I think about it, I'm like, oh, where can I hang this plant? Anyway, it is looking so gorgeous. It's filled out. This turned out to be an uber long side note, but to go back to the story of this plant and I, and the mess we've been through. When I got this plant, I think it was just a little bit smaller than this size, and it was growing okay. I want to emphasize that it was growing okay. And then I found out that there were worms in the soil, and then I had to completely restart the plant. So I think I've had this plant for 2 years. 2 years? I think I've had this plant for 2 years. And only now is it taking off, and it is looking absolutely gorgeous. And there's a leaf with the green. I love it when neon plants have like specks of green. Yeah, and it's just looking gorgeous, and the planter is absolutely super cute. Love the combo together. Usually I'm not a terracotta on terracotta girl, but it's looking good. So I am in love with this plant. Every time I see it, oh, just the fact that it's filled out so well. And this is one of the things that are just so great about pothos, is the fact that they fill out by themselves. Like very rarely do you, not very rarely, let me not say very rarely, but they fill out really well, and you can do the whole chop and prop and like add stuff into it. But this one I did not. I just put the propagations together, and it's coming really well. So I had to chop it all the way back and start it from scratch, and it is looking great. Speaking of plants that I started from scratch, which I'm doing well now, is my enjoy pothos, which I love. I love this plant so much. I think it's been on every single one of my plants that I'm loving right now videos. So this plant also is growing well, and then I had a thought of like how I wanted to put it in a bigger pot, and so then I chopped the whole plant back, and this was in winter. This was in winter, and then the plant didn't grow. Then I freaked out, and I just unpotted because I had put it in a really big bowl in a big planter, and so I took them all out and made baby plants in small little planters and put them in my prop box. And then beginning of this year, I decided to put this whole thing together. And look at how well this plant is growing. It's really growing well. Yes, there is a backside when nothing's happening, but otherwise this plant is really grown well. I still think the saucer and the pothos leaves, the enjoy pothos leaves, like go really well together. Just this whole combination is really gorgeous. This plant is one that will also need to be hung. Yeah, I think that is which has nice life problems. That is one of my problems with my plants, is that they need to be hung or they need to be put on a higher shelf, and I've been trying to do that, but yeah, it's getting ahead of me because so many of them need a space. But yeah, This is a plant that I absolutely love. It is a plant that needs to be watered, and actually so did the neon pothos. So that is something that I also still need to get on top of, because especially because in the summer, I think we're in the summer now. We are in the summer. We're in the summer. Spring. But anyway, during the spring, summertime, it gets really hot and these plants dried more quickly. Plus, generally, I will admit, I'm not on top of watering as I should be. And I hope that's an encouragement to people who feel like, oh, I can't keep plants because I'm going to kill them. Yes, you will need to water the plants before they die, but plants are much hardier than people give them allowances for. So yeah, that's number 2 on a non-ranked list. Third on my list is my Syngonium auratum, which is crazy because it was also on the list of plants that I was beefing with, but I could bring it down. It's not big enough that it can't come down, but what is making me love the plant is how it's decided to grow on the shelf. It lives at the top of this shelf, so I want to show it to you in the space where it lives. But yeah, it's what do they call it when you I want to say multi-talented queen, but I don't think that's the word. There's a word for when you like can do multiple things. But anyway, the plant's looking really great, and I'm loving it. This is my Syngonium auratum, and this plant has crazily decided to grow out of the pot and like move down and come out, and I do not know where the plant is going, but I think it's so cute. I'm just scared is that the word, and I hope that it doesn't like bring down the planter, because I love that planter. But yeah, this is a plant that is like growing crazily. The leaves have sized up like I don't have the world's largest hands, I will admit that, but like that's still pretty big. So the leaves have sized up, because at a point, look at how tiny the leaf used to be. Yeah, and it started sizing up that, yeah, and look at where it is now. And it keeps on popping out new leaves. A new leaf is going to be coming out soon. But I just love how it was like, okay, cool, I'm just going to do me now and take over the shelf. And it's doing that, and it's so pretty. And so yeah, I was beefing with this plant, and I was planning on chopping it back and filling up the bowl. And I actually think filling up the bowl would be a thing to do, but I actually just don't want to disturb how well this plant is doing. So I'm just gonna like let it live. Also, look at how cute this leaf is. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Next up on my list, and I really have legit lost count, and I'm probably like 4 or 5 plants in, is my variegated peace lily / domino peace lily / it's not a normal peace lily. You know what I'm saying? This plant has been growing so well and chugging along, and it's looking in a random direction to absolutely all the leaves, because all the leaves are facing this way and the flower decided to face another way, but it is growing a new leaf. It's growing a new flower. I think the second flower that it's grown in my care, but also actually I think the first one was like an emaciated, not doing well flower, and so this one is a gorgeous flower. This plant is absolutely gorgeous. The leaning is random, but it lives at the top of the bookshelf, and so the leaning actually makes it such that you can see what's going on, like when you see the plant. This plant is gorgeous. It's easy to take care of. I love this plant. Love it. It's beautiful. The combo is just gorgeous, but also just how easy this plant is to take care of. The other day I forgot to water it for a very long time, and it did the dramatic peace lily situation, and it's back. It's back. Like within a couple of hours it was back up to scratch. So I am thoroughly enjoying this plant in that it is a very easy to take care of plant, but it's also just super gorgeous. I love the different variegation on the leaves. Like there's a one with a really white spot, and then there are ones with just like random specks. it's a really, really cute plant. When I got the plant, I think it had 3 leaves, so it really has been growing really well. This was a plant that I got with the Syngonium albo, and when I bought these plants, they came with fungus gnats, which was not great, but the fungus gnats are gone and we're carrying on. And yeah, really love this plant. Next up on my list is another surprise entrant, because at a point this plant was also on the plants that I'm beefing with list. But look at these leaves. Look at how absolutely gorgeous these leaves are. This plant is growing so well. It's growing new nodes, which you guys, if this is not your first episode, know how much I love that. It always just makes me think of how like God really is in charge of growing the plants. Yeah, so it's absolutely gorgeous. These leaves have size. They just got dramatic. Like as soon as spring hit, the plant was like, actually, I'm not problematic. And it's been growing really well. It's making me want to grow a whole basket of these. Like I saw a picture with, I will try to find an example of the thing that I'm thinking of. One's with where it was like a large, I just also don't have the space. Where it was like multiple plants in a pot and then like grow really large. Yeah, so it's making me kind of want to do that because it is so gorgeous. I've completely forgotten about the winter beef. Yeah, so this is these leaves are gorgeous. So I've completely forgotten about the beef. I think the combo of the plant and planter is also one that I still appreciate, have started to reappreciate. Yeah, it's a great plant. I think one of the things, I think I'm definitely keeping this plant first and foremost. I don't think I'm going to do the multiple plants yet, although I would like to do that, but I would actually need to find a place for this plant, a place where this plant will like look good and thrive, because this plant does not like direct sunlight. It's something that I've learned, but I think it would look really great. I love these chubby leaves. I don't think this is a normal, like I think it might be a monstera acuminata, but I also don't know what the difference is, because at a point I bought a normal monstera adansonii, and then another point I bought a monstera adansonii acuminata. So this actually might be that. I am not sure what the difference is. Let me let you know. I don't know what the difference is, but I think it might have to do with the chubby leaves. But anyway, I would like to make this a fuller pot of these plants. If this is what I'm going to be getting going forward, I would like for this to be a full pot of this. It is of course dry because I'm not on top of that, but yeah, I am absolutely loving this plant. Can I say that again? Love it. We're having a good time. And I hope this good time carries on for a very long time / forever. So I just would need to figure out the winter care, which is what I was trying to say, and then got sidetracked with how much I love the plant. Yeah, to keep it going, because I do not like the crisping leaves. I don't like the crisping leaves. I think it just turns me off. But it's also weird that there's only one crisping leaf left. I wonder whether I chopped this plant up in winter and then it acted up. But yeah, I am thinking of filling this plant up, but I would need to fill it up with this plant. So I think a big thing is I need to figure out the difference between a normal monstera adansonii and a monstera acuminata, and then yeah, put them in the same pot, because I'm not chopping this plant up to propagate. Yeah, anyway, that is that plant. Next up on the plants that I'm absolutely loving right now is this mottled syngonium, but actually all mottled syngoniums, I'm actually loving my mottled syngoniums. They also did this whole 180-degree turn when it came to spring and summer. They used to have these, one of the things about the mottled syngonium's leaves is that the variegation is not consistent, but especially when it's not getting sunlight, and this one isn't getting direct sunlight. But I think it might be related not to sunlight. Sunlight was my first thought initially, but can't believe I just first thought initially. Both meaning the same thing. I used to first think that Okay, so I used to think that the plant's variegation was directly related to how much direct sunlight it was getting, but this plant doesn't get any direct sunlight. And look at the variegation on these leaves. I will do a close-up. All of these were when it was living further away from the sun, but also in colder months. So it actually could be either or. I have seen somebody say this other plant has variegation that's very related to the temperature. So it could very well just be that it is now spring and summer and this plant's leaves are popping. But it is looking great. The trellis is not doing the best. It's not doing the best in that it really was too skinny. I should have used more wire as the foundational wire, but as I've said before, I am wanting to make way more trellises. I even want to try and make bamboo trellises, so stay tuned to see that. But this plant is growing really, really well. I think even before here, I used to love how many plants are like just spontaneously started growing in this pot, which again, like we're just under God, like a sous chef, but like Sue Gardner under the master gardener who's God. So yeah, like I just absolutely think this plant is pretty. I have not been on top of the rolling this plant around, so yeah, so I'll just do that now. And then I actually need other tools, and there's another one here that is also growing crazy. It's on me though. I haven't been, it's like with my syngonium elbow. You guys will see when we, so these syngoniums do grow really, really well. I think the only syngonium that I have that doesn't grow really well is the Syngonium Pink Perfection. It's the only one. Generally, these plants grow really well and really fast. Yeah, so this plant is looking super gorgeous. And yeah, it just needs somebody to keep on doing the twist and twirl around. Yeah, so I am thoroughly enjoying this plant as well. I do debate between selling the plant just because I have a lot of mottled syngoniums and they are all looking really great right now, but then I would have to recreate this whole thing, and yeah, I don't think I can do that. But I do definitely need to redo the trellis slash get it another trellis slash potentially fully pot it into, because it is in a nursery pot, slash fully pot it into anyway, I'm loving my mottled syngoniums. Next up is a plant that I got in winter, and I regretted buying this plant. It's a variegated Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, and when it came, it had these two like beautiful leaves, and then proceeded to drop one of the leaves immediately, and then I freaked out and put it in my propagation box. And then randomly later, I just decided in the spring to bring it out, and I brought it out, and it's been doing so well. So it first had this dinky little baby, and then it had this baby, and it's like growing really well, because of course when Rhaphidophora tetraspermas start out, they don't have the, is it fenestrations as well when it's like this? Anyway, it doesn't start out with the mature form, it starts with the little dinky leaf form. It has been gorgeous. I think it probably also was on the plants that I'm beefing with video. This just shows like, if your plant is struggling, maybe put it in a propagation box for a while, and it'll do really, really well. So it's doing really well. It lives outside in normal room temperature humidity. Why did I say room temperature humidity? Like, why are words so difficult today? You can put it in normal. I put it in normal room humidity, and it is living and thriving. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm excited to see where it's gonna go. Again, I don't have the space. I don't know where it would live, because my normal non-variegated Rhaphidophora tetrasperma lives against a wall, and it's hung and it's growing really beautifully. So I do not know where this cat is gonna actually be like growing big to, but it's really, really cute and beautiful. And I have been moving plants around, so hopefully I'm gonna find a little place for this plant. But yeah, totes, I'm loving it. It's off the beefing list as well. Next up is another plant that is small enough. In fact, it is a tiny plant. It's small enough to bring down and show you guys, but I want to show you how it sits and why I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Every time I look up, it sits over there, and it's my neon syngonium. So this is the plant close up. When I first took it out, it just looked so scraggly and a mess, and now it's getting to grow on its own, and also that it was watered and it looks so much prettier. The pink in the leaves doesn't come out so well, but it's kind of a quirky, wonky plant that I keep looking up at, and I'm like, it's so cute. And I still do not have a plant for that place, but my hopes in life are that my Cebu blue pothos will like grow as lush as this neon philodendron and be able to take up that place, but we are very far from that time. Anyway, neon syngonium, absolutely gorgeous, absolutely love it. Next up is a plant that I actually can't bring down, which is my peperomia hope. This plant has probably been on absolutely every single list. Every time I'm making this list, the plant has grown more gorgeous, so definitely deserves its spot on every single one of these lists. This is the plant in question. It is so absolutely beautiful. The vines have grown so long. Like, look at how long this vine is. It grows into this ficus elastica, which is also absolutely gorgeous. So they've grown really long. They're growing tangled into other things. There are some that have, I actually thought this vine was going to break off, but it just decided to go around that way. There's some that are growing into other places. It's just a crazy, beautiful situation. I don't know where this one is going. Okay, well, you know what? It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. The leaves, I love that they are all just the same chubby, bluish gray. Why am I saying gray? Bluish, greenish vibe. They all have they're all big and chubby. So I remember the last vine that I cut off, the leaves had been like really tiny, like maybe a third of this size, and I was like, you're done, because this is a tree of just gorgeous vines. One of the things that I want to do in life, in making in decorating planters, as I did this one, I would like to paint. I'd like to do pottery one day, actually, and I would like to paint one of my planters with the cascading peperomia hope vines. Yeah, so that is a thing that I would like to do one day in life, but until then I'm just gonna enjoy how gorgeous this absolutely is. And while I am here, I'm actually gonna go to this ficus elastica that I think the last time it was featured on this channel was when I was potting it up and cleaning it up, and look at how gorgeous and big this plant has grown. Let me move it a bit so you can see it better, but it's grown really big. Yeah, and I like how these two plants are growing into each other. Actually, this neon philodendron was growing, it had this particular vine was growing up to the ficus elastica, but I decided to chop it off a bit. But yeah, this plant is looking so pretty and it's just enjoyable, and I absolutely love this plastic planter situation. But these leaves, this is the ficus elastica tonique, so it has the pinkish and yellowish leaves. I did just drop some water on this plant, but yes, so as the leaves grow older, the pink fades a bit more, and I do enjoy the pink. I think that is what happens because all the leaves at the bottom are yellowish and the ones at the top are very pink. This is probably the pinkest leaf. So this was one of my pink phase acquisitions, and I think it's a gorgeous plant. It also was a propagation success, and I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4 vines. I feel like there were 5. I think there were 5. Okay, there were 4 vines, but yeah, absolutely think this plant is, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm definitely enjoying it, and I think it's enjoying me, apart from the fact that it is always underwatered. Next up is the succulent, whose name I don't know, whose name I probably will never know. I got this plant as a 3-leaf plantlet, and it is basically a tree now. It is it grows in such a crazy way that even when it was a plantlet, I remember thinking, I wonder how these leaves are going to fit into each other, because it like does this split node thing, and it is a tree and it is gorgeous. And I recently brought it into the house because it was staying outside with my bougainvillea, which I was going to feature my bougainvillea, but it has lost. So it goes through a cycle where it flowers and then loses all the flowers, and apparently this is like every 6 weeks. So I did not take any video footage when I was like, oh, you're so gorgeous with your pink flowers, and now it's lost most of its flowers, so it is not going to be featured today. But this guy was living with my bougainvillea, and the bougainvillea kept losing its flowers onto the plant, so I've decided to bring it in. I also had a space because I moved another plant. I've been moving things around. Anyway, it is absolutely gorgeous. I have spoken about how much I love this little planter. But yeah, I love this tree. It's basically a tree. It has these thick little leaves. It has these thick, not leaves, thick. I'm actually going to just show you a close-up. This is the tree in question. Like, it literally looks like a tree. It has these really stubby, the stubby tree trunk, and it just branches off into new trunks, I guess. It's just a weird tree that I'm so absolutely incredibly thankful. Wow. Incredibly thankful to have, because I literally got this for free from Sturtle's nursery, because they have this thing where they give a free plant every month. And yeah, and at a point I think it was almost dying, but it did not die. And it even has little new plantlets that are growing inside. It's so weird. It's such a weird little tree that God made. Like, it is so crazy. Look at that. Look at the new little leaflets, branches, no idea. And the bougainvillea flowers are all basically in there. And it also has this like reddish edge. Yeah. So it's very durable. It grows super well. This is 2 years growth, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and which is crazy to me. So yeah. Next up is another plant that I'm loving, Stalwart, which is my Syngonium albo, which has kind of been allowed to grow more wild. I'm supposed to be taking this down soon, but it has been growing a bit more wild since it moved from the like being caged in the cubby hole. And this plant is just gorgeousness. I really love it. I love the variegation on the leaves. I love how full it is growing. Like, whoever, I have forgotten where I got this idea from, but this thing of like rolling the vines around so that you get a fuller, I didn't even think I was going to get a fuller, more gorgeous plant, but it is full and gorgeous and lush and so stress-free. It also is really good with like being underwatered, being overwatered. Am I even overwatering plants anymore at this point? I do not know, but it is a plant that I definitely recommend for every collection. It is a plant that has been fuss-free. This is one of the plants that came with the gnats, and then again, the gnats are gone now, but there were gnats at a point. And so the gnats are gone, but this plant is here and it's gorgeous. And it is one of the reasons why I recommend having your Syngoniums grow up, because they just look so great. And some of the leaves are turning a bit more yellow, like this one, which, you know, if you juxtaposition with this one, which is like more white, the plants are looking great. Yeah, it's really looking great. And the craziest thing is that it's still in this dinky little 12 centimeter planter, and there are still no roots growing under. And perhaps that's because there are actually only 2 plants in this pot. Yeah. And one of the plants has like 3 or 4 nodes coming out from it, which again is not anything I did, simply God. And it's just so absolutely gorgeous. It's a gorgeous, easy to take care of plant. The wrapping around, again, I am not very on top of now, especially because the plant can, you know, go a bit more wild, because it doesn't need to fit into this. So it definitely wouldn't fit in here anymore. But yeah. Are there numbers anymore? I was trying to think of the number. Yeah, that is that plant. Next up is another stalwart of the plants that I'm loving, and it's my Monstera adansonii, and it's grown 3 new leaves, and one of the leaves is so big and beautiful. This is my Monstera deliciosa. You guys have seen this plant before. It is absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. Just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Look at these leaves. So this is probably the smallest of the newest leaves. Oh my goodness. Look at how beautiful it is. And this, I don't know what direction this leaf is trying to go, but I was like, okay, let me let her live. But this one I did tie onto the stake. And then this, look at how like huge and gorgeous this plant is. This leaf is. This is one of my absolute favoriteest plants. You can see that by the fact that it is sitting on its own. And it's filling up, and I just wonder how it's going to look in a year from now, because I've decided to actually not repot it until the end of the year / March, when I actually did the potting story. I don't know how wise it was to try put 3 big Monstera adansonii into one pot, but you know what? I did it, and it's living, and it's looking gorgeous, and I am absolutely, absolutely still loving it. Yeah, it's just such a gorgeous plant. I do need to wipe the leaves. That is a thing that somebody must do, and also I am committing to be more on top of watering the plant so that we don't have any of this situation anymore. But even these leaves that have this thing, it's so weird to me that I don't have the dots anymore, because this is like the newest one and it doesn't have a dot. But you know what? Gorgeous, gorgeous plant. And shame, there's a shame. Okay, but anyway, there's my Monstera adansonii, and she is gorgeous. And in sticking with monsteras, I have my Monstera Thai constellation, which is absolutely gorgeous. This is the newest leaf, which is also really like larger than this one, but with less fenestration. So I don't understand how that's working. It is currently pushing out a new leaf. I do at times want to repot the plant, but I'm very scared. I'm very scared. Like, it's been doing so well. I have had no problems. I did say in the beginning, I was trying to do the crazy things that people recommend, which is like watering it and putting it to drip. And I don't do that anymore. I take care of it the way I take care of all my other plants. And it's adapted, and it's doing well. So yeah, and it's in soil. Chunky aeroid mix, I'm sure. But it's doing really well, and it's been super easy to take care of. Yeah, and it's just cute. I love, 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 obviously, all the different like variegations on the leaf. And I do think I like this constellation. Somebody was asking the other day, I was watching a thing where they were asking whether, and the Taikon doesn't have the half moons, the Alba has the half moons, but whether there's a preference, like what you prefer between a half moon shape and a like speckling, I would say this is. And I definitely like the speckling more. But one day, okay, one day, one day, maybe my Monstera alba might also make it onto this list. It has not yet made it onto this list, but yeah, this is absolutely gorgeous. These are the 2 plants. I mean, when it came, it was probably already pushing this one out. So this is fully in my environment, fully having a good time. And so, yeah, that's my Taikon. This is my Syngonium white butterfly. It does have little leaves that actually need to be taken out. Like, as I'm going through this list of plants that I'm loving, I also am doing like a little quick care here and there. But yeah, this plant is absolutely gorgeous. I think separating this, I said it in last week's video where I was doing the actual separation and showing you guys how it looked after. Separation was such a great, great idea. Like, the plants are able to thrive on their own now. Although I did love them together for a time. But yeah, this plant is looking so, so pretty. And it's little, like, it's not even little, it's actually a very big planter. And yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And I was doing a thing where I was just leaving water in the catch pot, which is actually not a catch pot, but a fruit bowl. But it actually was looking terrible because it was like dark water and like sitting over there. So it was not looking great. So I have stopped doing that, and instead I will water the plant. But she is looking absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, and so I'm really, really thoroughly enjoying this plant's, these syngoniums, the neon and this one being separated. Next up are my marble queen pothos and golden pothos, which are two plants that I love. And I think they are separately gorgeous. I have spoken about that before, but I just have been enjoying lately how well the two plants grow together and how they play off each other. And so that's why they are being featured together on this list. This is my marble queen pothos and my golden pothos. And this curtain is not wanting me to have a good time. But this is what I wake up to in the morning. And I just love, love, love these plants together. They seem so similar, but are also actually quite different, because I have spoken about this gold speckling on the golden pothos and how absolutely gorgeous I think it is. This curtain is like, I also want to be in the video. Anyway, I love this. And then this guy has gotten, I remember they called this variegation snow queen, and then this one marble queen. And so I love how they are growing in both in the same pot. Obviously, I only bought this. It's not obvious, but I bought this as one marble queen situation. I love, love, love how it is filled out. I, in the winter, decided to fill it out, and it didn't really work out, but now it's filled out quite well. This is still quite patchy, and every time I see it, I actually think of, I was reading a book, and in that book, there was a cat with like patchy, or like had fur taken off, so it like had patchy skin. I don't know what it's called, patchy skin, but it had patches on its fur, and this is what this makes me think of. But I just love, 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 love it, love it, love it, love it. I think I am gonna let some of the vines cascade down, and some too probably will go up. I am also, as you can see, I'm not loving whatever's going on there, so I have to think through how to fix that. I am thinking of cutting that there and then having it just all go around here instead, and then not having like the two plants meet at the top. So I'm not sure about what I'm going to do there, but I just love how these plants grow into each other, look so similar but also quite different. Super cute. I have to be more on top of watering them. And this is also the thing that I was saying with the enjoy pothos, about the plant actually filling itself up, which is what is happening with this golden pothos. And so it's always dry. And this is also what happened with the marble queen pothos. So that is why I think the pothos is an enduring, like, classic houseplant. The sun is setting, and I almost forgot to speak about my alocasia fridex. So this is my alocasia fridex, and this is my alocasia fridex variegated. And these are looking so gorgeous. And if you guys have seen my other videos about these plants, they were almost dead. They were almost dead. This one currently lives in my propagation box because I'm just too scared of bringing it out, lest it try to die. But this plant is absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I am loving these plants. This one is from Corms, straight from Corms, because the actual original plant died, and it didn't die. I am lying. I threw it out. I got to a point where I was like, you know what? If you don't want to be in this home, you can go. And I threw it out. And I'm sad that I did that, because then I watched another video where somebody else actually like took the stump. Is that a stump? And regrew it. But yeah, these plants are so gorgeous. They really are gorgeous. I am wanting to grow this one outside so badly, but I am needing to figure out how to do that. And it keeps toppling over. So not the sturdiest plant in the world, but also just absolutely gorgeous. The variegation, especially on this first leaf, is so beautiful. I am hoping that it will get greener again, because then it suddenly decided to go white. And I don't know whether that has anything to do with higher or lower humidity, but I mean, all these leaves grew in the same conditions, but absolutely gorgeous. Definitely plants that I'm loving. That is it for today. I thoroughly enjoyed showing you guys all the plants that I'm loving right now. I hope you enjoyed watching me show you the plants that I'm loving right now. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you next time. Bye.